So today we're going to talk about Thailand's workforce. And during the past few years, we've heard of terms like quiet quitting, quiet firing, and now there's quiet cracking. So what is quiet cracking and why is it becoming such a concern right now?
Quiet cracking is like the state that employees, they are like physically they show up at work, but internally, like mentally, they are not really there. They're like, they deliver the job, they meet the expectation, but the motivation actually demotivated or obviously they're disengaged.
How can we tell that someone is quiet cracking at work?
So that would be signs that the employers could observe. Some of the employees that might be disengaged, like in the company's activity. There are less collaboration, less of knowledge sharing. This is a top percentage from our research, like 40%. Yeah. And the second one, sometimes there could be observed as lacking of focus. They are like 22% from our research. And the last one actually contributed to 20% of our research. Sometimes when the employees are in the meeting, they're not really like actively participate in the meeting, not really showing like their ideas, their thoughts in the meeting. So that could be like the top three signals that the employers could observe that the employees could be in the state of quiet cracking.
So these are the top 3 warning signs, is that if someone is not engaged in the company's activities, they feel distracted at work, and they don't share any ideas or opinions in meetings. So these are the top 3 issues that employers cannot overlook.
No, they cannot not overlook, and they cannot let these go unnoticed, because if this continue, and it's quiet cracking, right? And if this continue quietly, it might be leading to the recession. I mean, it could affect the company overall productivity and also the company culture and morale as well, as a big picture.
So let's say if I'm a manager and I have noticed that one person in the team is not actively engaging in meetings or in even like get-togethers, or they feel distracted at work. What would be the first thing that I can do so that this person can open up to me about what is going on?
So before going to that employee, that should be something that the direct managers should observe for quite some time, right? That's a behavior change, right? And one thing that employers could do is that, okay, you have like the weekly catch-up, checking in regularly, and ask an open question. Yeah, what happened, how the managers could help you, employee, or how the company could help you. Yeah.
Right, but what kind of mindset that you need to have when you're talking to that particular employee? Because navigating that disengagement or quiet cracking can be very complicated, because that person might have other issues that come into play.
Right. I think that we cannot assume, because challenges of the employees could be coming from several factors, whether it's from professional or personal life. But the approach that I would suggest the employers to go forward is that being empathy with the employees. So that would be the first approach to go to the employees. Try to understand them, listen to them, and find a solution together with the employees.
Wow. I think this is something that we see pretty much every day, but how is it different from burning out?
I would say that burning out actually might be able to a little bit observe it, can be observed more easily. I mean, they might not really deliver, but the people that are in the state, I mean, the employees that are in the state of quiet cracking, normally they would be meeting the expectations of the job that they could deliver. But burning out, sometimes they might not meet expectation, and those group of employees, of course, the employers would take in action something with them already. Quiet cracking, sometimes the employers has to observe whether there would be some signal, because the result is there, the expectation have been met, but internally, as I shared, that they are not really there. They are demotivated and disengaged.
How alarming is it for companies today?
So I believe that quiet cracking might be lead from one of the situation we are in during the uncertainty. I mean, it could lead from the economic challenges, the business challenges, with which they are like the factor that that could lead to the challenge in the workplace as well, and that cause uncertainty and potentially could be causing the job security to the employees. So sometimes they deliver the meet the result, but to identify that at the early stage, the employer should understand that the employees might facing the situation, I'm not sure about the job security, there are uncertainty, and maybe discuss with them whether this could be observed as an opportunity or challenge that they could take on, and let's accept it as like a normal professional life.
Mm-hmm. Right, and you just mentioned economic challenges, and Thailand has been facing a series of economic challenges since last year, in particular with the trade war, the higher cost of living, and now the energy crisis. So how much of this is contributing to the quiet cracking or the burning out factor among employees today?
Okay. I think the economic challenges, the war, the trade war, price, and everything are like the external factors that every business, all the business in the market facing right now. But internally, if the company able to identify these signs of quiet cracking and burning out signals that the employees have, starting from the internal, communication, as I shared earlier, and also open communication with them, how to navigate the challenge within the organization during the uncertainty time, whether the external factors are, that would give the employees more like, the employers understand how the employee in the situation, what the situation they are in.
Right, and so that is just one aspect of the workforce today. But right now, we're also dealing with the generation gap. Many companies are more hesitant to hire people of Gen Zs. So based on your experience, what do Gen Z workers value the most when it comes to happiness at work?
I would say that from our research as well, Gen Z, actually, they are like the new generation in the workforce right now, right? And what they value the most, I would say that job security is one thing that they value the most, and also the opportunity to learning and development, to growth, the growth within the organization. So that would be the most, two factors that they value the most right now for Gen Z.
Yes, and how is it different from other generations though?
Okay, so when job security is basically something that I believe that most of the generation would be looking for when they join the company, right? But for the difference in terms of like the learning and development opportunity, the growth opportunity, one key interesting difference for Gen Z is that they would like to have kind of the opportunity to be in like the mentorship environment, on the job training, real life experience. So if the company, the employers would be able to provide them the environment there where the collaboration, the feedback, and allow the Gen Z workforce, Gen Z employees able to, work on the job training and able to like have the mentorship environment that would allowing them to, be in the learning and development opportunity for them.
You just mentioned mentorship because many people are starting to value this a lot more. So why do Gen Zs value this so much compared to other generations?
Okay, so if compared to other generation, for example, like Gen Y, right? The learning experience or like the training, they would go for like the classroom training kind of style, or maybe like external training courses. But Gen Z, the reason why they value like mentorship or on-the-job training, because that might be because they are in the uncertainty situation and they need to be adapt really fast. So what they would prefer the style of like learning and development is something that they could like really picked up from and able to like learn from the one who has really like experienced it already. So mentorship would be something that, okay, this is the real life experience.
Speaking of job security at the moment, a lot of new graduates are struggling to find their first job. So how concerning is it at the moment? Because some people have even struggled to find an internship and now they're struggling to find their first jobs. And right now, there is this thing where many people are getting laid off because of company restructuring, the use of AI, and many more things that have led to this situation. So what is your observation on this one?
So what I've observed during this couple years, during like the changes that happen in the workforce or in the labor market is that, yes, there are like the transformation, the laying off, or like the challenge in finding the talents to join the company as well. But for those like the new generation that are just entering the workforce, one thing that I would suggest, the key differentiation points that the new generation, that you should have the not other than like not just only like functional skills or like the degree that you graduated, but also like the soft skill, the skills that, okay, you could differentiate from others. Okay, you could train yourself in other, like how could you utilize the modern technology, the AI, something that is human skill that you could also differentiate yourself from others. Yeah.
Yeah, and some studies have indicated that employers feel hesitant to hire Gen Zs because of their work values and their attitude. But how can employers navigate this Gen Z attitude without losing their cool?
Okay, I wouldn't use the word attitude, I would say. Actually, Gen Z, they are they're interesting generation in terms of like, I would say like the working style. I mean, as I mentioned, they value job security, but at the same time, they value the learning opportunity. But the learning opportunity could be something that is really dynamic. So they would look for, the difference is that the other generation would looking for like the learning opportunity in the long term, like the longer tenure, right? But for Gen Z, they might sometimes, okay, they're learning at this environment already, and if the employers couldn't provide a learning environment or something that the growth opportunity to them, they might consider to equip that kind of learning environment somewhere else. So that would be the style the working style that the Gen Z might have nowadays. So how the employer could navigate this challenge? So go back to the value that Gen Z prefers, that they're looking for the growth opportunity, learning opportunity, and they value something that, okay, they could pick up really fast. So the employer should already have like the identify how could they provide the collaboration and also like the feedback, or also like constructive conversation with them, or clear communication, and portray share to them what how success should look like if you're working with this company. So they could understand that, okay, this job has something that, okay, one day I as an employee could achieve working with this company.
What about those of Gen Y at the moment? Because many people have been saying that Gen Y is considered the sandwich generation, where they are dealing with daily pressures, not only at work, but also their families, and trying to make ends meet.
Okay, so Gen Y is a little bit different from what I speak earlier about Gen Z, but something is Gen Y really look for is flexibility, because they are sandwich generation, as you mentioned, right? They are like the breadwinner for the family. They are like in the middle management level, right? So flexibility and family matters, something that I really values. But still, one thing that Gen Ys really value is that the job purpose. They're looking for like something that could create the value for like more on the bigger level of picture compared to the newer generation. So if the employers could speak with the Gen Y employees that okay, you will be part of this value creation with the organization. You are the purpose of the company, and how Gen Y is a part of that process going to meet the purpose of a company. Communicate with them with the higher level of like the bigger mission of the organization.
Right, but what we've noticed is that whether it's Gen X, Gen Y, or Gen Z,
Yeah.
there's one thing that they have in common is that they all want to be valued at work. But then it's so hard, isn't it? Because
Of
nowadays we're dealing with a lot of daily pressures, and now we're dealing with economic challenges, and it does affect how they view job security, especially in the near future, because being laid off is something that everyone is kind of scared of, especially if they don't have any income, how they're gonna make ends meet, how they're gonna like feed their family or like survive a day to day. So,
Yeah.
well, so what's next?
Understood. With the observation of the market right now, I mean, the layoff, the restructuring is more commonly seen in the market as we observe. And I think, in my opinion, to be prepared and to adapt in the evolving situation, and sometimes employees as well need to maybe take this as an opportunity. Sometimes you have this opportunity to pivot yourself, maybe like adapt, and this will improve you every day. That might sound a little bit, I mean, that's something that you need to adapt in today's situation. Yeah.
Right, and what would be your recommendations for companies to retain their talent so that they don't feel like they're quite cracking every single day?
Okay. So I would take the first step is to have the open communication with the employees. By communication, I mean like two ways communication. So understand their needs, what they value, and getting feedback from them, and also communicate with them the direction, the purpose, the organization goals, whether that how the employees and employers are going to align the expectation that would give like the direction of how the organization would go in the future.
So open two-way communication would be the first step to
Right.
retaining their talent. right?
The clear communication and being transparent, I think it would be the key. Yeah.
That is really important. All right, thank you so much for today.
Thank you very much.
ขอบคุณ
ค่ะ
ค่ะ
ขอบคุณค่ะ